This is Bonnie Canal, and I serve as the national chair for the Association of Contingency Planners, which means I am your national chair, and I'm humbled and honored to have this opportunity to talk to you. And on behalf of all of the ACP National Board of Directors, I want to first thank you for taking your time to be on this webinar. For us, it's a very important webinar. We want to make sure that we become more accountable to you, our members. And number two, I want to thank you for your membership. And again, the National Board is very appreciative of each and every one of you for being a member of our association. It is you, each and every member, that make this organization great. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is present to you our State of the ACP, which is an overview of the ACP as well as our end of the year report. So again, as you can see on your screen, and I'm not going to read it, the rule of my presentations are, my basic assumption is you can read, and as if you don't know, I live in the state of Louisiana, and it's a very scary assumption to make here, but since I would be one of the only people from Louisiana here, I will not read these to you. So again, we'll go ahead and go through it. But as you see, who we are is we define ourselves, and this is on our website, is the preeminent national voice for contingency planners. We are a membership-based organization, which means that from an ACP perspective, we would be considered your professional organization for business continuity planners, not directly emergency managers, but people that are in business continuity in some place. Our vision is to build a premier international organization for business continuity professionals. And our mission, which I think is mission critical for all of us to be really keenly aware of, is everything we do professionally as an organization is dedicated to protecting lives, safeguarding business, and fostering community resilience. This is a very important mission for us, and I think for all of us is to really understand our mission and get excited about it. Again, we are really here to make what I call the third leg of the stool work. And as we know, what we do is very, very important within our community. This is the last year's National Board, this is this year's National Board. So this year we have, that's a picture of me, our Secretary, Executive Committee, Secretary Cheyenne Marling. Dr. Ed Goldberg is serving as our treasurer. We have Lizette Georgie, who many of you know from the President's Council. She's a new member of the board this year. Susan Gwynn is a new member of the board. Charles Jones was just re-elected to the board. Bill Jankouskas was on the board last year. Bernie Jones was on the board last year. George Huff is with Cheyenne and I are what we would consider the three elder statesmen of this board. Ellen Koo served on our board last year, Molly Latham, and Barb Shaw. So these are your national board members. They represent what I consider a great cross-section of our membership. Very proud to have two doctors on the board, Dr. Ed Goldberg and, of course, Dr. Bernie Jones. Very excited to sit with them on our board. One of the things I wanted to do is quickly go over and help each member understand what the National Board does, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding as what we do and how we do it and what are our responsibilities. So please indulge me. I'll go through these slides relatively quickly, but I wanted everyone to have a good baseline understanding of your national organization. So what we have is the Executive Committee, which consists of the chair, the secretary, and the treasurer. We have a national board, and they are divided into committees. And the committees are very simple: finance, government, governance, information, chapter membership, engagement, and sponsorship. Those are the committees, and that's how we run this organization, mostly through our committee structure. We also have represented all of our chapters, and our board members are all members of chapters. We also have the President's Council, which is a leadership forum for our presidents to get together once a month and have a dialogue about pressing issues that are important to the local chapters and then chapter leaders, which include information director, secretary, membership, PR marketing, all of those things. So we have all of our chapters represented with leadership opportunities. Quickly, this is what I am personally responsible for. I have the pleasure of representing your ACP to members, partners, stakeholders, and any interested party. It is my responsibility to be the spokesperson for this organization. I like to be open and hear what you have to say so that when I do have an opportunity to speak to you directly, I'm available. Or if I speak for you, I want to make sure I'm clear on what it is that I am asked to express. I chair all the board of directors meetings. We meet once a month. We have 12 meetings throughout the year and one face-to-face board meeting when we get together and hammer out what we're going to do for the year. I chair all the executive committee meetings, and I represent the board on all the President's Council calls. Last year I was on 11 of these calls, so I try to make every single call possible. And I go to the events and where to represent you and any partner, regional, chapter level events, anything like those events. I go to those meetings, and then it is my responsibility to appoint committee chair members of all of our committees. The secretary, which would be Cheyenne, she works with our staff on give notice for all the board meetings. She is responsible for the meeting minutes and making sure that everything is correct. She also does our national articles of association, our bylaws, and of course, what you may not know is we are incorporated within the state of California, so everything is governed by the state of California from a national level. She oversees administrative operations, policies, and procedures so that again, if there's something we need to do from a policy or procedure perspective, that falls under Cheyenne's preview. She serves and attends meetings of the executive committee. Our executive committee meets every Thursday. And again, we are tasked with really answering a lot of the day-to-day questions and really trying to set the tone for the national board. So we meet every Thursday to have discussions about this organization. She if she is needed, will be at the President's Council meetings, and also she will serve as a representative to any of these events that I can't go to. The treasurer, again, which is Dr. Ed Goldberg, his job is to prepare and oversee the approval of our annual budget. You'll see, again, some very exciting numbers from our budget. Ed will work with staff and auditor on completion of an annual audit. For your information, we are going to be audited this year. It's the first time, and I think it's been at least 4 years since this organization has been audited. We are going to have our national books audited this year. Ed works to prepare a monthly financial statements and reports to both the ACP National Board and membership. He oversees financial operations, policies, and procedures. He serves and again attends on the executive committee meetings. He is also available at the board meeting, at the President's Council meeting, and again, if need be, Ed will represent you at any event. The board of directors' responsibility is very clear: oversee the strategic direction of the ACP. That's very important to be very clear on. One of the things, and you'll learn a little bit more about this as we move along, is the Nationals Board primary goal is strategic. We are charged with looking at where this organization will be, not only this year, but over the next 2 to 3 years. We really need to start to look at our strategic position within our national organization. They are directly responsible for the election of the officers, so they are the ones that cast the vote for the chair, the secretary, or the treasurer. And again, they also work with the executive committee in any operational issues, and then they also plan or facilitate any ACP meetings, which means committee meetings and such. So with this, I wanted everyone to be clear as why the Board of Directors elections are very important. They are your voice in the future of this organization. And as I've said to many of you, I encourage you to, if you're interested in running for the National Board, to do so. And if you do not want to run, then make sure you get out and vote. And we vote every year at the end of the year for the next year's board. The President's Council responsibility, again, a lot of people want to know what is this President's Council and what they do. What they are is a president of each board-approved chapter. So their responsibility is to have these monthly calls, and they, again, talk about issues that are very pressing for the chapters. They facilitate coordination and communications between the chapters, board, and corporation meeting staff. So they're an integral part of the communication structure that we get from the National Board and staff. And they provide a unity, source of direction, and a forum. So that's very important. Again, what the National Board is committed to is to hearing what the President's Council say. They are your representatives to us and say, this is what we need, this is what we'd like to see, this is the direction we feel we should go. We listen to these directions that we get from our President's Council. And again, to serve as a collective body to discuss. So those are the outlying opportunities for what we call the volunteer side of our organization. Now, our staff's responsibility at our office headquarters, they are the task people. They are the ones that touch this organization every single day. So they are the people that answer the phone. They're the people that do the database management. They do the finances. They do conferences. They do website maintenance. They help the National Board with strategic planning and implementation. They take what we do and make it happen. They're in charge of our webinars and all of our PR and marketing aspects. So that's what the office headquarters responsibilities are. So with that, we're going to go ahead and do what I'm very excited to talk about, which is our look back. When I became national chair last January, one of the things that I felt was absolutely imperative, and we discussed this at great length at our very first national board meeting, is what I call an accountability. This organization needs to be accountable to its members. You share with us $75. It is your $75 that you give to this national organization, and as your leaders of this organization, we have an accountability back to you. So we're very excited to have this end of the year report. So this year last year coming into 2015, we had 3 new officers, which was Mike Carver, Mike Morganti, and myself. It was Bonnie and the 2 Mikes. We had 6 new board members and a new board structure. So we'll get into a little bit of that, of how we changed the national board from the year before last. But our main vision was a stronger, better ACP. How do we develop and grow this organization? One of the things we did is we put a new committee structure in place. Quickly, the financial reality set in. We were looking at a deficit before we even opened the doors, so we had some real strong financial realities. We needed to also define our strategic work. What are we going to do this year? I mean, there are so many opportunities for us, but what comes first? One of the things that we knew was important was a better relationship between national and chapters. How do we engage in a dialogue that's productive? That was something that this national board felt was high on the list. We needed to also be able to communicate more effectively with our leaders and with our members. So we needed to enhance our level of communication. And one of the things that, of course, we did this year was our National Leadership Conference in October, which really was a business summit that we did in October in Dallas. So what we did last year, is to do a new committee structure. So in the past, the way the ACP was organized is each board member had a very specific job. So everyone had a job and was tasked with doing this job. But as we moved from a more tactile approach to a more strategic approach, we decided to really create this organization differently in a way that we felt would be more reflective of where this organization is. So what we did is we had these 4 overarching committees. We had the Chapter Member Engagement Committee, which obviously is anything to do with chapters and members and how we engage them throughout the year, which Cheyenne Marling was our committee chair on that. The Information Committee, which again was the website, social media, any kind of information that we have to share with our members. That was Dr. Bernie Jones, that was his committee. Our Governance Committee, which again, Mike Morganti was directly responsible for, which helps us shape both the bylaws from a national presence and any issues that would affect the local chapters. Mike Morganti was in charge of that. And Finance Committee and was headed by Michael Carver. And Mike's role and responsibility was to allow us to move towards fiscal health. So those were our 4 overarching committees. Quickly, chapter membership committee goals, very simple. Enhance membership value, grow our membership, strengthen our ACP chapter structure, strengthen the national chapter relations, and develop educational programs and industry recognition. So again, how do we do the things that we need to do to make our members a priority? So again, that was very simply what the chapter membership committee goals were. These were the projects. So what we did very differently this year was at the beginning of the year, and we've done it again this year, is we actually did what we call a project. So each committee chair had projects that they needed to accomplish within the year. So here's some of the larger projects that the Chapter Membership Engagement Committee actually did. The chapter designation, so they established the small, medium, large criteria. You may remember that we sent out a survey on this from a chapter leader perspective. We sent out some surveys on this, very in-depth survey as to what was going on within our local chapters. The chapter toolkit, which we're very happy, has been completed from a national board perspective, and it's now headed to the President's Council for continued support. So the chapter toolkit has been done. The membership reports, again, we went through and did a series of different ways to measure our membership, judge our membership, and look at who our membership is. They accomplished that. The membership recruitment plan, and their job was to design a 2015 ACP National Membership Initiative. And I'm very excited to report that over 30,000 names were acquired from BCM and the DRI. Happy to say that cost us $0. So these were names that we were able to receive at no cost to the membership. And this membership campaign began in the late third quarter. And we're going to be continuing to finish this and ramp this up again for 2016. And again, of course, our webinar series, they accomplished that. Information committee goals is to, and Bernie's got a heavy lift, is to really redo our national website. That is one thing that, as many of you know, and I speak about this a tremendous amount, our national website is our front door to both members and non-members. It is the way that we can advertise who we are and share information about our organization. So again, key is to add content, enhance the quality of information, and this includes news and views. So again, to give you information that you, the members, think is important and valid for what we do every single day, and then provide the platform. First thing that Bernie did was to redo our Speakers Bureau. Part of that was done with the process, and Bernie worked with Molly on this, is to develop a Speakers Bureau, some more processes and procedures to kind of clear that out. We are going to revisit this in Q1 and really come after the Speakers Bureau more aggressively in our first quarter of this year. Again, LinkedIn, to really access LinkedIn and make LinkedIn a part. So we have a LinkedIn group, Facebook group, but to really start looking at social media as a different way of sharing information, not just our website. We've got some of that done. We're going to be looking to continue more of that this year. Ask the Expert, that's something that you'll be seeing this year, which is a column that we'll have. It'll be a monthly column where you, the member, can ask our experts questions that are interesting or things that you need to know about your profession. Things from NSPA 1600, about standards, about anything like this. This is something that you'll begin to see on our website starting this quarter. News we can use, again, that is part of what you get in the newsletter that you get from us. How do we establish criteria, articles, white papers? So we are looking at really setting up the process for giving you information that is important to your business, and webinars, again, that was part of Bernie's committee as well. The Governance Committee, association leaders in their work within the framework of our bylaws. It's a very simple task. Mike Morganti, the project nominations, what we did is we accomplished new processes, policies, and procedures for the National Board for nominations and elections. And so again, Mike went through that. We've changed this process. Again, what we've moved towards is what we consider a more transparent way. So we want everyone to be able to see how the elections work, what are the processes for this, how do you get on the national board, what are the expectations if you get on the national board. We started this last year. We are going to come back at that this year. There's a few things that we think we need to tweak, and Cheyenne has already begun working on this. And again, the other thing we worked on is the ACP Nationals Executive Committee elections. That is another process that we felt needed to be more open, more honest, and what we've done is we've modeled this on the national board. How we do the national board elections is how we do the executive committee elections within the national board. And so again, we're going to revisit this one more time and develop a summary of duties for officers, board members, and expectations and all of that. That's from a national perspective. So we've really kind of laid out what it is to me, excuse me, to be on a national board. So Mike Morganti and his committee were extremely busy this year. Mike Carver, his committee goals were the 2015 budget. He did a 6-month and end-of-year financials that he reports to our members. So you will get another financial report for us in January that Ed will give you, but he gave a report in July. He also developed the 2016 budget for us this year. He was the direct chapter support for the chapter treasurers. Strategic partnerships, again, as you know, there are only 2 ways the ACP receives money. One is through members and one is through strategic partnerships. And this fell under the preview of the Finance Committee, which Mike Carver oversaw. Assessment of the due structure. Every year we look at our due structure, evaluate it, not just from a national level, but at a local level as it lays out not only for how much you pay to be a member of the ACP, but for certification and things like that. So whenever we look at dues, we look at a total investment that you, the member, have to make to maintain your certification and membership in the ACP. And again, recommendations to secure long-term fiscal health of the ACP. Board reports, again, Mike worked very hard on this to really change the way that the ACP reports its finances back to the board of directors. So the most important thing for the national board is to be aware every single month of where we are and the direction in which we're going. So Mike Carver actually rearranged the structure of these reports and spent every board meeting explaining in great detail what was going on from a financial perspective within your organization. Chapter treasurer training, again, Mike did that this year. There was a webinar that he did to help new chapter treasurers in understanding their roles and responsibility and reports that are needed back to the national organization. And again, the growth sponsorship program, we really have attacked this very hard, and if you go to our website, you'll see the new sponsors on there as well as our old sponsors. So like every program with a sponsorship, we are reviewing this again. Big, big, big news. This should have been first and foremost. We're very happy to announce that the ACP is back in the black. So we have not done our complete end-of-the-year report, but as of November 15th, our total expenses, as you can see, were about $117,000. Our total revenue was about $154,000, which means that we turned a profit, or we actually had a reserve of about $37,000. Now, understanding that we have not made an accounting for all of this, but we will not lose money this year. It is the first time that I'm consciously aware of 3 years that this organization did what it said it was going to do and say, we are not going to spend your money and lose your money at the end of the year. Part of this must be clear is that the one directive that the board of directors had is the charge was we don't spend $1 unless we can show where it's a direct line to member benefit. If there is no direct line, and I don't mean crazy lines, well, if you go left and go right and go down the corner, there's the member benefit. It had to be clear and concise. All dollars spent were spent in that vein. It is our same charge for this year, but again, this is what enabled us to leave 2015 in the black. And again, very, very, very excited to report that. Sponsorship committee, again, this sponsorship committee, which I actually served as the chair and working with David Brady, who works with our staff, we were able to renew bronze sponsorship partnerships with Continuity Housing and Rentsys. We welcomed 6 new industry partners, Tier-Point, MailGuard, Virtual Corp, BC Management, B. Jones, BCP, and QTS Data. We also have working partnership agreements with Gartner and Apex Advertising, which does our online store. So again, we are moving strongly in the direction of getting more sponsors. This is what helps supplement our organization and allows us to keep the doors open. Our big announcement of last year was from Al Berman at the DRI. And what Al did was to announce us in October was they agreed to extend their platinum partnership with the ACP through 2017. So when Al came to us, and he actually came to me and he wanted to ask me questions, and I didn't want to really hear him because usually there's a cost with this. But when Al came to me, he said for me to be quiet. He wanted to give me something. This is what he gave to us. So this is a tremendous opportunity for the ACP and for the DRI to really tighten and strengthen our partnerships with the DRI. So again, very excited that the DRI has announced and is committed to this organization. We can't thank both the DRI and Al enough for this. So quickly, and I know I keep saying quickly, but I don't want to take up all of your time, but what I really wanted to allow you to understand is where this organization is going. So what does this organization look like 5 years from now? Because as we sit back and start to plan over these next 3 to 5 years, what's going to happen with our membership? And that's something that we really need to look at. So one of the things, and this is data that's not only our own about our own ACP organization, it's data that we know is for all associations around the country. Members only want to do projects that have meetings. that's the heart of this. Is, you know, people want to feel good about doing something. Nobody wants to join losers. People want to feel good about their membership. They want to feel good about the projects they go to. We're asking members to give up their time. We have to value that. It's the one thing that people never can get back is time. So they want to do a project that has meaning. And again, they want to have information or ideas that make them better at work. They want to do this. Our ACP needs to, what their affiliation with ACP needs to make them better at what they do every single day. Initiatives that are interesting and outside the norm. I always like to say, you know, geez, I never quite thought about it like that. And that's something that we're really going to start looking at this year is what can we do that is different? What can we do that will get people excited about our ACP? Causes that they care about. Again, the passion, the heart, and activities that teach and entertain. But the biggest question that people ask is, what's in it for me? Why should I belong to this organization? Do you take the money out of the way and say, okay, I'm going to pay my opportunity to participate? Besides the money, and people give us money for this, is they need to know what is their return on their investment. What do I get out of this? So everything that we do as a national organization and at the local level, we really must approach this and saying, I want to give you what it is that you want. And part of what we do at a national level, and I know we're doing it at a local level, is really addressing that. What's in it for me? Again, workplace settings divided amongst consolidation of duties and high level of specialization. So we're seeing people getting more and more jobs tacked into their one job, and then a lot of times not more money. What we want to do is have resources available to all of our members at the fingertips. That is our main goal for 2016. Technology must lead, follow, or get out of the way. Again, information, that's what you're going to start seeing this year is more change and more exciting opportunities in our technology. And again, would rather spend what little personal time they have on personal interest other than association functions. So when I think about my busy day, do I really want to go to a meeting, to talk about a meeting, to discuss a meeting, to plan a meeting that we may have in October? The answer to that is no. So again, what people want to do is go somewhere, if they're going to give you their time, spend the time, get what they need out of it, and then go home and or go back to work. So the question that we all ask is how do we build a professional trade organization that serves its members both now and in the future? So what is that future member? And again, allows us the opportunity to grow our organization, to really increase our membership, increase our foothold within this industry, and anticipates the changes of business continuity, both as a profession and as an organization. So how does ACP do this? These are the questions that the ACP National Board asks. So the answers for us, these are the answers for us that are very simple. Member value. How many times have we heard, you know, the value proposition? What we really want to do is really start to examine not a proposition, but what does that value look like? Explain this to me. Show me substance. What is the meat, other than the words, of the member value? We need to grow our membership. Our organization becomes stronger with every member that we get. Whether they're a chapter member, a non-affiliated member, we get stronger by the growth of our membership. Our long-term success is by our membership numbers. There's no other way around that. We need to communicate better. We need to offer an opportunity for everyone to be clear on what it is that we're doing. That's why it was very important for the ACP National Board to have the State of the ACP webinar for you, is that we need to make sure that our lines of communications are open, both internal and external. We also need to be able to communicate to our sponsors, partners, and all of the business continuity professional field out there to say this is the ACP. We need to look at our organizational structure. That is something that we did a bit of this past year, is look at the organizational structure from a national board perspective. We are going to continue to push this organizational structure theme into 2016. What is this organization? What does this organization look like? Are we structured in the right way? And last but certainly not least is financial stability. You cannot do anything if you're hemorrhaging money. We've got to shore up the bottom before we can build. Before this organization grows, there must be a strong foundation for us to grow upon. So again, the financial stability through the leadership of Mike Harbour last year, we were able to achieve that. Member value, again, effectiveness in your profession, more knowledge, job opportunities, marketable skills, content-rich programming, allowing you the opportunity to learn, allow you the opportunity to grow. Again, really trying to look at our member and say, what does our member need from us and what kind of information do we need? And for those whose employer pays for their membership, we need to also show a direct line to that employer for both their member, for our members. So we need to show that employer that their member has great value, meaning by being a member of the ACP, we're going to help them be better at their jobs. Very, very important. We've got to think through this every which direction. Professional recognition, we want to really begin to push this. We need to allow everyone to receive recognition for what you do and what you've accomplished, both internally through the ACP and externally. That's something that I feel is extremely important. If you serve and a leader within your chapter on the national board, we can't give you any money, but the least we can do is recognize what you've done within our organization. That's something we really want to look for and continue to push hard next year. Advocacy for business continuity. We really want to become a voice in this arena. Again, recognition as an authority. We need to push this. Again, it's an agenda item we have to really begin to move. And then mentorship opportunities that connect new members or people new to profession with experienced people within our industry and within our membership. That is a program that we're going to be rolling out next year. Again, we need to show a value. We talk about the value proposition again, but there has to be a line to this, is that can you get, as a member of the ACP, information that you cannot get anywhere else? Can you get this? We all know, well, I'll be clear. In my opinion, the answer is not yet. Not yet, but we're moving in that direction. We have to improve this information so that it becomes a no-brainer for people to say, oh yeah, I belong to the ACP, and no, I'm not going to let that membership lapse. So we have to provide information that members cannot get anywhere. Again, we launched a defined 2-year membership recruitment plan. That is very important. One of the things that ACP National and your national board understands, that it's very, very difficult at a local level and many times to build your chapter membership. We are committed to growing this national organization, doing national membership opportunities, and when these members come in, referring them back to the local chapters that they come from. And again, create a structure to engage our members at large in a more formal way. So again, our third largest chapter is our non-affiliated member. So we have gone from we've gone from 0 non-affiliated members to this being our third largest chapter in our network. This year is the goal we're going to look at and define what this means. What does it mean to be a non-affiliated member in the ACP National Organization? So again, to keep this member engaged. Again, making membership and operation of the chapters as seamless as possible, less cumbersome. As many of you have heard me say, working with ACP National in the past, in my opinion, as a chapter leader was cumbersome at best. What form do I need? When do I need this form? How do I do this? We want to make this easy. We want to streamline this information so that it's easy for chapter leaders to get information from ACP National, for ACP National, to get information from you, again, to make this easy as possible. And then again, looking at new corporate audiences. So again, looking at corporate membership. We had this in the past. It went away. We're looking at this. Is this really an option? Is it something we should think about? And again, my personal heart is to engage the small to local business continuity within your community. So how do we take our level of expertise as business continuity professionals and share this within your community to the people that really need it the most, which are the small to medium-sized businesses? Again, here's our goals from communications. Again, global communications focus, improve our SEO in our search engines, Speakers Bureau, a national website that's more consistent. We rolled out our new website this year. It's a lot cleaner. It's a lot easier to read. It's a lot more focused and streamlined. Keywords, again, so when people are looking, our name comes up. Understand the role and responsibilities and opportunities our chapters provide at the local level, and survey our members and stakeholders. A lot of the information that we get comes from our survey. So if we want to know something, the only way we know is to ask. So again, for you to have a voice in the future of this organization, this is what we do. We continuously ask and say, tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Again, to tell the BC story, to access how ACP connects business continuity professionals through both our website and our social media sites, through our LinkedIn sites. We have a tremendous ACP LinkedIn site right now. Again, how do we continue this dialogue above and beyond our chapter meetings? One of the things that we are going to work on this year is what we call the elevator speech. We will make sure that every single chapter gets this, that can speak to the membership and speak to why you want to belong to ACP. 30 seconds or less. Tell me about ACP. If you ask me, I'm going to say something. If you ask one of our board members, they'd say something else. So again, making it easier, here's what we talk about with the ACP. Again, to position the ACP in responding to press releases. I mean, how many times have we had opportunities for the ACP to be front and center within our communities and our name is not mentioned? So how do we get ourselves in the public eye? How do we position ourselves as the go-to people? That's something we really need to work on. And of course, student engagement. They are these young people, and I personally do a lot of work with young people in the greater New Orleans area and Southeast Louisiana, spending a lot of time working with both with our colleges and universities down here, and really looking at them. These students want to get involved in a profession like this. Often, this is the decision between emergency management, business continuity. This is our future. This is where we need to begin to focus our energies, and how do we allow these young people to become not only active within our profession, but active within our organization. So what we've done with communications, 52 weeks of news and views, 18 member updates. That's when you see my shiny face and my with an announcement. 11 member announcements and reminders. 4 from the ACP chair. Those are my letters again. 12 webinars and monthly emails to the President's Council. So we are really engaged in trying to communicate. This is our ACP Get Connected. It is our new optional program that we've run. When you go and you sign on and you renew your membership, you see the option to obviously to add some money if you want to give a little bit of extra money for your membership dues. But a part of this is how do we grow our numbers? How do we look at this? And as you can look and see, What we did last year was the first year, as you may remember, we did a one-time or a national membership program, meaning that all members renewed at one time. So all dues technically are due by December 31st. So 2016 is right now, if you have not paid your dues for 2016, then you're considered a non-dues paying member and moving into a grace period. So again, we need to look at our members. You need to make sure that as your chapter leader to get your members to renew. But how do we grow? You grow at one member at a time. Each one brings one. It's very simple. That is really the way that we grow our membership. People meet you, they like your organization, they tend to join. Very simple. All right, organizational goals. Part of our board structure is, again, I talked about this, defined and documented processes. Anyone can read online how to be a national board member. All of this information is available. I want everyone in our membership to be very clear how to get on the national board. What does it mean to be on the national board? What do these board positions do? All of that information is outlined. We reviewed the criteria for eligibility, and that's something that's been a moving target since I've been on this national board. This is my 5th year. So we've established a criteria that's very clear and very plain on what it takes to be a national board member. And again, diversity within our national board. When you look at our pictures of our board members this year, can you see yourself in any of those faces? Can you see yourself? I can tell you right now, the face that I don't see is someone under 30. We do not have younger members represented. So again, we always, part of our national board is to look at diversification. We need all voices and all people to be a part. So again, chapters, immediate plan to foster more positive and collaborative national chapters, relations, high on the list. Develop and provide chapters the tools that they need. Part of this, of course, is within our new chapter toolkit. Clear and seamless procedures for the chapters. Again, can't reiterate that enough. Welcome non-chapter members. That's the non-affiliated member. ACP chapter structure. We need to review that. Again, high on the list for this year. And a positive understanding amongst national leaders, chapters, and members where everyone benefits. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. There's no we. There's no us and them, it's only we. We are all in a national organization. We all serve different functions within this organization. There is no them, none of that. It is one organization. Every aspect of what the national board does, what your local chapters do, or what you as an individual member is a contributory to the success or failure of this organization. And we as members really need to look at this. I say this often. Everyone in our organization is a member. You are a member of a national organization. We, as the national board, may touch you in different ways. So as the national chair, I can touch you as a member. I can touch you if you're a chapter leader as a chapter leader. So I need to be clear on my touch to a member. I need to be clear on my touch as a chapter leader. And if you serve on a national board, I have to be clear on my touch with you on the national board. But each of these opportunities are clear, positive, and concise. ACP National as an organization must understand that members reach us in many different ways, and we need to be very open and honest in the way in which we direct our conversation. So, this has always been the challenge of all associations, and what we have found over the last few years, a lot of associations, even larger than us, have begun to fail. And part of that is simply because it's a limited amount of money. We are not a stout 10,000 member organization who can throw money around. So we always operate on a very limited budget. So everything we do, we have to think about. Do we want to do this? Sure, I'd love to do it. We don't have the money to do it. So but we have an expectation to continue to deliver to our members and our chapters. So how does ACP grow its value and membership base? How do we fund this? How do we pay for this? What initiatives do we need to do? Where does this money go? These are questions we ask all the time. What are our revenue and non-dues revenue options? So as we grow our membership numbers and our numbers increase, when we get these sponsors, they bring in a lot of times, $3,500, $5,000, $10,000. That's a lot of members that they come in. So we need to have a good sprinkling of both. And what are some non-traditional ways that we should use to grow in the future? So is there something that we're not thinking about that we need to do to grow both our dollars and our members? All right, so one of the things that we as the National Board really are clear about is our current ACP national financial model is not sustainable. If we don't change this organization, it is my personal prediction that this organization will be out in 5 years. We cannot continue to limp along. We have to really understand that as we sit right now, we're not sustainable. We've got to start looking at the long-term success and the long-term growth of this organization. Our long-term goal has always been to have 1 year of operating expenses in 3 years. So we continue to put aside our cash reserves so that if everything went haywire, we could at least operate for 1 year without seeing another dime come into this organization. Part of what we look at is diversification. Again, so we look at like 20% of our numbers, 20% of our dollars come from membership, 10% for promotions, 20% for advertising, 5% for special interest groups, conferences, training, global, and store. So besides looking right now, as I've said, we have 2 models. That's it, members and sponsors. We need to diversify this. We need to begin to look at other options. That's the only way that we can become sustainable. Grow our sponsorships. Do a value add to our due structure. Don't know what that is. Don't get hysterical. It's just something we need to look at. Opportunities for fee-based training. Can we do something with this? This is one of those one-off things. Can we offer webinars to our non-members at a fee? How do we do this? So again, something we're looking at. And then again, collecting data and selling our data across the industry. All right. So what we've done is streamline our bylaws. For those of you who have never read the ACP national bylaws, I'm telling you, when I first joined this organization, it was War and Peace. I don't know how many pages, 1 million, I think. It was a lot of pages. And what over the last 4 years since I've been on this national board, your national board representatives have worked very hard to streamline its bylaws. What that means is that we don't run your chapters anymore. All in our bylaws, when we went in and said how many people should be elected, how many meetings you should have, who could be elected, that no longer applies. You run your chapters the way that you think is best in your local community. It's not for ACP National to tell you how to run your chapters. There are some legal requirements that are part of the deal of belonging to a 501c6 organization that are legally required, but other than that, we're not in the chapter running business. We've also enacted a better due structure. Part of what we do is we say, are our dues sustainable? Does our dues pay to keep our doors open? The answer is no. And if we say, well, we have to raise our dues, we can't raise our dues in just a vacuum. We say, okay, well, we want to raise our dues to $85 a month. Well, when you start to factor in what it costs for you to remain certified, to be a member of the ACP, both on a local and national level, and then if you want to pay to get certified, all of a sudden now we are priced right out of the market. So again, we really need to look at due structure at a larger level. Enhance our communications, engage our new leadership, involve members in its decision making. I can't say this enough. We are your ACP National Board of Directors. Part of everyone on this board is very clear and will speak to this if ever given the opportunity. We serve you. We work for you. It's very simple. And as the national chair, it is my job to take the trash out. Meaning my job is, I have the honor to serve as a leader, but I'm telling you, whenever there is a job that needs to get done, down to taking the trash out, I do that. So we need to get you involved in this organization. You have an idea, you have questions, this is your organization. Share this with us, and again, new industry partners. So one of the things that that we've done this year is, again, tactile to strategic. Let's look at this and say we're not going to just be a director of. Everyone serves as a board member. If you look at our board, you will not see board director or director of. There is no more of this individual responsibility. Everyone serves as a board member and works within a committee structure. So again, that's very, very important for the success of this organization. So we have a lot of work to do, and so we've tasked both last year and this year's board with a tremendous amount of committee work that really reaches back out to our membership and gets an engaged membership involved and talking and able to make changes within their organization. We need to, again, be a part of the same team. We are a we organization. It's not a you and then not me, or I'm part of this group and not part of that group. We are one ACP. Your national board needs to be completely transparent. You need to know what's going on in your organization. You need to understand what's going on in your organization. We need to have a commitment that I know that I try very hard to live up to as your national chair. It's a commitment I ask from our national board. I know our chapter leaders are committed, and so I reach back out to our members and say, we need your commitment too. All of us need to be committed to the larger vision of this ACP, and part of our commitment is to assess where we are. Are we doing what's right? Are we going in the right direction? So again, we've done a new website, new toolkit, calendar membership cycle, prorated dues. That's something we're very excited about. We did a prorated dues structure this year. Business continuity impact statement, member value justification sheet. We've put processes and procedures in place that we didn't have. 5 new industry partners. We had our National Business Continuity Summit and Leadership Conference in Dallas. And again, we listened and we made those changes to our organization. Again, this is the back to basics, nothing fancy on this. We went back to the basics and said, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? And is it working? It's really, really simple. All right, so we still need to change the conversation. As I always say, we need to move the dial on this. We need to begin to have different dialogue this year. This year is going to be a very telltale sign for us because we really do need to change what we're talking about. We need to watch our fiscal health. We need to make sure we're on the right page. We need to continue to build value, and not just the words, but really deliver member value to our members. Again, support our members, a collaborative and cohesive nationwide audience, and align committees with goals, and fully engage our national leaders. So now I'm going to tell you that's what we've done. And if you take nothing away from what we did last year, remember, we ended in a black. That's all. When we sat down to put this PowerPoint together, that's all I wanted to know. When we sat down at the end of last year, all I said, red, black. Don't give me a whole lot of numbers. Don't give me a whole lot of stuff. Just red, black. I understand the difference between the two. And they said black. Believe me, I was extremely excited and extremely proud of this board and its commitment and what it did last year. I cannot tell you how proud I am. So with that, we move into what we're going to do next year. And this is where it starts to get fun. The ACP National Board will have its very first board meeting next year. Typically, we meet yesterday, so the ACP National Board, we would have met and talked over this before and would have, kind of either helped me or allowed me put some different words in my mouth. They have all seen this information, but you're getting it right off the press. So what I've asked our national board to look at is so our strategic theme is very simple. Sustainability. Is our current model sustainable? Are we a resilient organization, and are we positioned for growth? So when we talk about direct line to member benefit, we need to incorporate these three questions or these three thoughts. Just because we've done it this way for 25 years is not an answer for me. We need to know why we do it. Is it the right thing to do? Is it the right direction that we need to go in? Are we doing the things that are positioning us to be around for our next 25 years? So again, everything we do will be focused on these three questions. So again, direct member benefit. Is there a direct line? Does this align directly with who we are as a national organization? Does this speak about who we are? And not only who we are, but who we want to be. So again, none of these crazy lines that you can draw in your mind and justifications here. There has to be direct accountability. Can we afford it? Or how, if we can't afford it, we can't raise the funds, what are our options? So those are that is how the board member, that's how each and every board member is asked to make a decision. Before they vote, this is their prerequisite. And if the answer to any of these is no, then it's a no. It's a no. It's very, very, very simple on that. It's a very simple answer. So here's our strategic goals for 2016. Progress through partners and sponsors, again, to continue to grow our partner and sponsors, again, the separation between the two. Again, member value, educational programs, I mean, none of this changes. A stronger virtual presence, strategic partners that bring value to our organization, increase communications, and achieve financial stability. None of this really changes. It's not the what, it's the how that begins to change. Part of our chapter membership committee, again, this year, our new chapter membership committee chair is Ellen Koo. And Ellen's committee is tasked with educational programs, working with the PC leadership, robust webinar series. We're very happy we're going to be having a ACP Career Corner, which is not just here's a job, get a job. It's really how to develop yourself within this industry. So really looking at the development of this. Susan Gwynn is going to lead this effort up. She's got 1,000 ideas on this. So again, very excited to talk about our Career Corner. We're going to continue to support the chapters on their chapter toolkit. And we're also going to directly look at the younger segment, our younger member. Lizette, this is Lizette's committee. She is tasked with understanding the younger member, the potential younger member, and to come up with some creative ideas as to what this younger segment wants and needs from our organization. So they have some very lofty goals in this. Again, we will continue to do our membership outreach to the DRI. We were going to redefine our goals and objectives and assess our membership structure and develop robust webinars. Again, continuing looking at our membership and saying, are we giving our membership what they need? So here's some very simple, our committee goals. You can see committees, Ellen Koo, Cheyenne, Marling, Barb Shaw, Molly Latham, Susan Gwynn, and Lizette. This year, Lizette, this year, what we've done is we've done something very different, is we actually have members serving on these national boards. So we have Danny Carone from San Diego, Chad Robbins from Greater Tampa Bay, Donna Jacobs from Liberty Valley, Ray Vanilla from San Francisco, Lori Cunningham from Central Arizona, and Michael Joy from North Texas. And Michael, if you're on the call, I'm sorry I didn't capitalize your last name. And so there's committees and subcommittees within this, but they are to look at our ACP chapter structure. to look at this. So we've established the small, medium, and large chapter structure, but let's redefine this. Let's go in here and let's start to peel apart our chapters and define this better. The career corner that I've spoken about and the Millennium member. So those are three very strong initiatives that the Chapter Membership Engagement Committee need to do in 2016. Our information committee is, our chair for this, again, is Dr. Bernie Jones. On this committee, we also have Dr. Ed Goldberg, Charles Jones, and Bill Chankouskas. And our members that are going to serve on this committee are John Small from South Texas, Michelle Lowther from South Texas, Lou Drapo, who is a national member, and Erin Miller from Mid-Penn. So again, we have two subcommittees. We have a committee and a subcommittee within this. And again, Bernie is tasked with enhancing the quality of information. This is also going to be from a national and chapter level. So Bernie is going to be working on our national websites, our chapter websites, really looking at this, our social media, all of this, continue to really pull this apart. A platform for the ACP National Have a Stronger Voice. And Charles and Bill are going to be working on a strategy, and Michelle and Lou to be working on a strategy for the engagement of the non-affiliated member. What are we going to do with this non-affiliated member? We can't just leave them out there. How are we going to engage them? So that is part of the information committee. And the sponsorship and partner committee, which is myself, David Brady, Ed Goldberg, Dr. Ed Goldberg, and Cheyenne Marling. Again, part of what we're doing that's different this year is strategic partnerships in nonprofit sectors and sponsors in for-profit sectors. So by really separating out who strategically should we partner with in nonprofits, who makes this organization through our partnerships better, who makes this organization stronger, and then what sponsors do we need to continue to grow our organization, non-dues revenue, policies and processes, sponsors and partners, and actively recruit them. So the governance committee, which is Cheyenne, Bill Jankouskas, and George Huff. The board members participating are going to be Mike Morganti. Mike's agreed to stay around and help us this year. And again, to continue to look at our national board, what do we need to do from a national board? How do we make this better? And is there something from a national presence that we can do to help our chapters become stronger? And finally, the Finance Committee, which is chaired by Dr. Ed Goldberg, Barb Shaw, myself, and Cheyenne Marling. And our ACP members are going to be Mike Harper from North Texas. And again, we appreciate Mike's willingness to stay around and help us one more year. And of course, Carol Novak, who asks the hard questions. And we're very excited to have Carol work with us on the development of an ACP National Finance Committee. Again, 2016 budget, our audit. We want to move our ACP national accounting from a cash basis to accrual basis. It's a major structure change within this organization. Long-term fiscal health, the budget, and again, the continued stuff as far as the reports and the chapter treasurers, and assess our due structures and recommendations for 2017. We want to make sure that we always assess where we are and where we're going. So those are our committee structures. And this year, we're very excited to include our President's Council as part of a committee of the ACP National Organization. And the participants in this are going to be Andrew Smith, of course, who is the one of the co-leaders, and Andrew, I'm sorry, I think he's the president of the President's Council. Samantha Van Dillen, who is Andrew's out of New York City. Samantha's out of the Connecticut chapter, and Samantha works hand in hand with Andrew on this committee. And Samantha, welcome. This is her first year serving in this position. So welcome to this position, and of course myself. And the ACP member participants that we have at this point are Laura Phillips from Central Arizona, Alicia Henderson from South Texas, and Lori Gorman for First State. And they're going to be working directly with me and Samantha on the the chapter toolkit. And again, we'll be looking, there will be other opportunities for our chapter leaders to work with us to facilitate the growth of our organization. But again, we really want to move our chapter leaders and move our President's Council in an ability to really help the ACP National manage and support its chapters. Since we've removed our board members from the tactile positions, the lesson that we learned this year is there needs to be a support system for our chapters. Really are looking to the President's Council to aid us in this direct support. So again, collective body, manage and support of the toolkit. We're looking to them to help us support the chapter officers call. One thing that we're going to initiate next year that's completely different is a chapter mentorship program. So if you're a small chapter or a chapter that is expressing some needs or concerns about their chapter, we'll be able to match this chapter with another chapter for direct mentorship on how to help and grow this chapter. Very excited about this. And then the chapter evaluations when our President's Council really help us and our chapters leaders to understand the health and vitality of each chapter. In the past, we've talked about chapters. It was one collective unit. Last year, we understood now there's 3 sizes of chapters. Now we're going to go within the size directive of these chapters and say, tell me about this chapter, and really create a profile of what we have in each chapter. It helps us understand where we have to go. This is the approved budget for this year. Again, our total revenue, we're looking at about $230,000. Our expenses about $190,000, and we're looking at a net revenue of about $41,000. Again, we have a dues. All the dues that we collected in 2015 were actually set aside for our dues collected for 2016 that we collected in 2015 have been set aside and are now going to be used in 2016. In the past, we used next year's dues to pay for this year's budget. We didn't do that this year or last year. The dues that we got for 2016 were moved into the 2016 bucket. Very exciting, and Mike Carver helped us put that together. Almost in the home stretch, one of the things that I promised that I would deliver is, where does your money go? Many, many times people have talked about the value of a national organization. They talked about the value of this, and we've always come back with a value proposition bunch of words. Here's our value proposition. You can read it. But somehow these questions persisted. And my answer was very clear. If people are still asking the question, then we obviously haven't answered the question. So instead of giving you words, we're going to give you numbers now. So people want to know, you give National $75. This is where your money goes. 32% of the $75 that ACP National gets is to support our local chapter. So that's $24. $24 we use as the direct support to support our chapters and our network. $51 or 68% of that supports our national organization. The one really important piece to this is that when you send $75 to ACP National, you have to be clear that it's not 100% our money. We use this money to support our local chapters as well. When you give your money to the local chapter, 100% of that money stays within the local chapter. And since they're a volunteer-based organization, and since they're all volunteers, most of that is considered operating capital or free to use. So we don't get that $75 free and clear. We spend $24 of every dollar we get to support our local chapters. What do we do with this 32%? Well, there you go. Here's the answer to that question, because that's always the next question. All right, so what do you do with it? Contracted expenses. This is what we pay to keep your websites up and running. We do our management fees. So what that means is this is how we pay for our back office support. When you call and someone answers the phone, or you get an email and an email comes back to you, we pay for this. We pay for this all the time. The audits, we always have to do an audit, legal fees and web hosting. So we have to send our money off to the IRS. A lot of times that gets audited from our chapter perspective. We pay for this. Web hosting, we pay for your website. That comes right out of the top of the ACP national money that you send to us. Administration, very small, but the telephone fax, any kind of websites, one-off, that comes into this 3%. External conferences, again, booth furnishings, PR materials, the tchotchkes that we send, again, we spend a very little bit of money on that, but we use this to support from this 32%. Corporate meetings, teleconferences. So again, this is all of the numbers that we use for the President's Council calls, the Treasurer's calls, all of these different calls. We pay for that as well. Bank credit card. Again, when you pay your dues online and you pay for your or your local chapter level, there's a fee assessed to that. ACP National eats that fee, so that if you have a $25 due to your local chapter, we don't charge the local chapter a percentage on that. We give them $25, and we eat whatever's the remainder part of that, and then the 1% is for the chapter support. This information will be available on the website. I encourage you to look at it. The two things that I wanted to deliver at the end of this last year was, again, an in the black, but I wanted to be able to show financial numbers, and I wanted to be able to show you in a picture where your money goes. Two very important issues that I felt ACP National needed to deliver to its members, so you could be clear where we were going. Oh, look, happy words, thanks. I didn't add that. I should have added some happy words, thanks there. Sorry about that. So in my happy words and thanks, I really want to, this cracks me up. I mean, what was I thinking? But anyway, what I really want to say from the bottom of my heart is that it is a great honor to be able to serve on your national board. It is a great honor. It is a great privilege to serve with with the other 11 national board members. We are very, very lucky to have these people on our national board. I am also extremely excited about the future and the potential and the direction of this organization. We have so much in front of us, and we have such a tremendous opportunity. And I can speak for the national board and say that it's our commitment to fulfill this destiny. We want desperately to make this organization great. We're a good organization. We're not a great organization yet, but that's our direction. The most important thing I want each and every one of you to know is I want to thank you for your membership in our organization. I said this in the beginning, and I mean this, is you make our organization great. Your membership, your commitment, you make this organization what it is. We appreciate your membership more than you'll ever know. And finally, I want to be very clear to each and every one of you that this board of directors is 100% committed to delivering the things that you saw on this page. When I talk about this, one of the things that I say in our board meetings are, I want everyone in our organization to see what we're doing. It is very important for our organization to feel like we're engaged, that this national board cares about this organization. We need to deliver on our promises. We make a promise, we deliver on it. Last year I caught a bit of flack because people are saying, are you going to be the same person that just talks and doesn't deliver? I'm going to tell you the same thing I said last year. At the end of this year, I will hold up what we've done, and I will be direct and I'll be honest about it. I want to be very clear. Our commitment is to deliver what we promised. Very clear on that. The one thing I've said to our board is the good news is we have an engaged membership. We get more emails, we get more responses, we get more people that are beginning to talk. The bad news is we have a more engaged membership, which means people are paying attention. They care about what we're doing. It is even more important for us to deliver. That is our commitment, to deliver. Again, thank you, each and every one of you, for taking your time out on this day to listen to me drone on about this organization. But I appreciate your time, I appreciate your energy, and I appreciate your commitment to the ACP. I hope everyone has a great day, and of course, if there's ever anything that I can do for any member, please never hesitate to reach out to me. Thanks, and y'all have a great day. Alyssa?
Hello?
Yep, you can turn it off now.
Okay.